It's draft week, which means it is time for my analytics-based draft predictions, which you'll find on BuffaloRumblings.com. I thought it'd be fun for my three fans and I to go behind the scenes and take a look at that process. If you're unfamiliar with my annual analytics-based draft predictions, it's based off of this wealth of research I've conducted over the years, comparing hours in a day based on a person's net worth. Now, for many of us, we may be closer to the zero line than we care to admit, or we may be a Scrooge McDuck in the 46 point whatever billion dollar range. But regardless, it turns out that Kansas was right all along. All your money won't another minute buy. It stands to reason then that if time is a finite resource, that NFL teams can't spend a lot of time wasting it with smoke screens or shenanigans. So with that in mind, let's take a look at some of the data behind the analytics-based draft approach, and then of course we'll reveal our pick along with the article on BuffaloRumblings.com. Now, if you're under the impression that all of this happens behind the scenes using an Excel spreadsheet, naturally you'd be correct. Now, the great part about this is all I have to do is a little bit of preliminary data entry from various sources, including our BuffaloRumblings.com visit tracker available on our front page, and then add things like position, college, or these little X's you see, whether a player had a particular type of visit with the Buffalo Bills or not. I add a quick formula in to do these counts, and this allows me to filter and sort things in meaningful ways. With the concept that time is, of course, a finite resource, one of the things we prioritize for this exercise is if a person has repeat visits. And you will notice that in this section, we do have a large chunk of players who have had 2 or more visits with the Buffalo Bills, which does give us a short list of players that they may be prioritizing. And what's striking about this is taking a look at this in comparison to various draft profiles or projections across the internet, you'll find that there is a decent number of players and names on this list that could be a fit at pick 27 where the Buffalo Bills are expected to make their selection. Nice thing about this particular setup is that I can also sort things by position, I could sort by college, or I could even double check things such as these visits that we see. Now, we're not done here, of course. We're going to break things down in other ways, and you'll see from here I have a pivot table that was used to generate some of the charts you will see in the article version of this on BuffaloRumblings.com. And this is the 2 charts you will see come right from this. And this allows me to quickly calculate how many player visits there were by position. And you'll notice a bit of a terminology change. We have count of total visits and sum of total visits, which translates to the number of unique visits or interactions, as I list them in the article, versus the total number of interactions. Or in other words, what we are finding from this is that the Bills met with 55 players, at least as far as I could find, and that with those 55 players, there were 10 repeat interactions for a total of 65 interactions that the Buffalo Bills had. The fun thing about pivot tables is the ability to filter, fact check, and really break down information in other ways. So for instance, if I was curious how many players the Bills had met at the Combine, that would be 18. Again, according to the best data that I can get. This does retain, because I haven't changed the filters, the number of total interactions. So what this means is that of the 18 players that the Buffalo Bills did meet at the Combine, we have 7 repeat interactions with those players. So again, that might suggest that there was some priority preference to those players. I really want to highlight this though. This is the number of private workouts filtered the same way. And what jumps out immediately is this number 26. The reason that jumps out is because NFL teams are limited to 30 private workouts, which means that from the best information that I could find, we're still missing probably 4 visits that flew under the radar. The reason this is so important is because while I love this exercise, the analytics-based draft predictions, it's incomplete, and it will always be incomplete. So it's a fun thing. Draft week is a great source of entertainment for all of us NFL fans, but deep down, we all have to admit that the chaos means we really don't know what the heck's going to happen on draft night. I'm going to jump back to this table and give the big reveal before I close out the video for this week. We did obviously have the largest number sort out players with more than 1 visit. And what we find here is not a ton, but enough players in that 27 range to give us some confusion. But if I sort this way, cutting to the chase, we see that there is a number of wide receivers on the list. We also see that a ton of them do have repeat visits. Take a look on BuffaloRumblings.com for the full breakdown, but the official pick for the 2023 analytics-based draft model is Jordan Addison, wide receiver from USC. Now, that doesn't mean I'm saying that the Buffalo Bills will draft him. What I'm saying is, according to this model, he would be considered their primary target. That's all I have for you this week. Happy drafting. Hope everyone has a fun week. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, or check out my other work on BuffaloRumblings.com.